Welcome to Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
In the last few days, everybody has seen England's black players have been the targets of disgusting racist abuse following Sunday's match. Disgusting. And this is really simple, Mr. Speaker. Either the Prime Minister is with the England players in their stand against racism, or he can defend his own record, those of his ministers and some of his MPs. But he can't have it both ways. So can he tell the House, does he now regret failing to condemn those who booed England players for standing up to racism, yes or no?
Mr. Speaker, we made it absolutely clear that no one should boo the England team. And Mr. Speaker, what we're doing now is following the racist abuse that our players sadly suffered on Sunday night and thereafter, we're taking practical action. So in addition to changing the football banning order regime, last night I met representatives of Facebook, of Twitter, of TikTok, of Snapchat, of Instagram, and I made it absolutely clear to them that we will legislate to address this problem, Mr. Speaker, in the online harms bill, and unless they get hate and racism off their platforms, they will face fines amounting to 10% of their global revenues. And we all know, Mr. Speaker, that they have the technology to do it.
Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, the online harms bill has been promised for 3 years. I'm not sure a 15-minute chat at a garden party moves things forward that significantly. Mr. Speaker, we can all see what's happened here. The government has been trying to stoke a culture war, and they've realised they're on the wrong side. And now they hope that nobody's noticed. Why else would a Conservative MP boast that he's not watching his own team? Why else would another Conservative MP say that Marcus Rashford spends too much time playing politics when he's actually trying to feed children that the government won't? And why will the Prime Minister refuse time and time again, even now, to condemn those who boo our players for standing up against racism? Mr. Speaker, what is it that this England team symbolises that this Conservative Party is so afraid of?
Mr. Speaker, I think the House will judge for themselves the quality of the question that the right honourable gentleman has just put. I think the whole House is united, including our distinguished members from Scotland, by the way, Mr. Speaker, in admiration of the England team and of every single member of that squad and what they did. And we stick up for them, Mr. Speaker. And what we're doing is taking practical steps to fight racism, changing the football banning order regime, fining the online companies, and by the way, we will use more legislation if we have to, just as we use the threat of legislation, Mr. Speaker, to stop the European Super League. And Mr. Speaker, I don't want to engage in a political culture war of any kind. I want to get on with delivering for the people of this country. He simply wants to get on with dithering.
Keir Starmer.
He doesn't want to engage in a culture war and point scoring. Give me a break. Football's a game. Racism isn't, Prime Minister. That's why many of us have been involved in the charity Show Racism the Red Card for years. But far from giving racism the red card, the Prime Minister gave it the green light. And I'll tell you the worst kind of gesture politics, Mr. Speaker. Putting an England shirt on over a shirt and tie whilst not condemning those booing is the worst kind of gesture.
The racist abuse to which Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho and Bukayo Saka have been subjected is disgraceful. And such behaviour has been too common on social media for too long. Social media platforms have had more than long enough to act. The Home Secretary said to me on Monday that legislation will be absolutely pivotal, but the government has dragged its feet on bringing the online harms bill forward. Worse still, the bill as currently proposed will not address what we've seen in the last couple of days. Allowing social media companies to set their own terms and conditions will not be enough. Will the government therefore commit to including criminal sanctions for senior executives in that bill? And in addition, will the Minister tell us exactly when the government will be acceding to the demand on these benches to extend football banning orders to offences that take place online, as was promised by the Prime Minister in Prime Minister's questions? And finally, will the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary finally show some leadership and apologise for siding with those who are booing and not with the brave England players?
In terms of football banning orders, again, the Right Honourable Gentleman, would have heard the Prime Minister say very clearly at PMQs about the work that the government is conducting in relation to football banning orders. It is complex because we know, for example, some of the trolls that have targeted some members of the team over the weekend are overseas. But we want very much to work with football clubs and others to ensure that these orders have the powers that we all want them to have. And as I have said throughout, and this is the golden thread that runs throughout our work on tackling online crimes, what is illegal offline is illegal online, and that is the principle we will be adopting throughout the online safety bill.